problem with that.
Okay.
If you see a waitress, I would take a glass of water.
Okay, I'll take the same. So, I have not used this before, this one-to-one planner. And I downloaded it this morning and I thought to myself, why not? I mean, this is a hell of a lot of good information. I don't know how long it would take to do this, but I figured that at least it's a good guideline.
Sure.
If nothing else. If I don't do everything on it, wonderful, who cares? But if I
Nobody-
do some of it, then it's more than what I would have done not knowing about this.
So what this does is it provides a basis for what a conversation you and I can have to help each other. I've spent the whole day golfing with somebody and we've never talked about the things in the planner. And at the end of the day, we had a great day golfing, but I didn't know any more about how to get them referrals or who to refer to them than I did when we started.
That's
This
a good
helps,
point.
This helps direct the conversation.
Okay.
That's the intent of it.
Okay.
And you don't have to have everything filled out in advance as long as you talk about the stuff that's in there. So let's go.
Okay. Well,
We doing okay?
yeah, we're doing great. I can't believe it. It's like it works by itself.
Talk to Cindy. She's got some ideas for some new door hangers for you.
Okay, yeah, she was gonna send it to me.
Okay. Happy birthday, buddy.
So this one-on-one planner, I mean, just briefly, I mean, I know with the member biography thing, that's like an important piece. And I know we cover it when we're doing our explanation of what our business is and, you know, where we've come from and what we're doing now. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, that biography gets me closer to understanding, you know, about where people are coming from and what they're doing in their business.
Right.
I can't say that I am going to each person here yet and doing these one-to-ones. So when I do get that kind of information from somebody, that's great, because obviously it gives me more insight into what their needs are. I mean, so I mean, one of the first things I want to find out, at least, you know, from this perspective, is where you see your business going. In other words, what do you want to get to?
I want to, in my business,
Yeah.
I want to get to the point where the business is wildly successful and I can retire because I'm approaching that age.
Okay. Can you give me a number?
A number? What number are you looking for? Number of years?
Number of years
7 years.
within 7 years. Okay. And how many dollars does that equal? I mean,
In annual revenue? Or
yeah, an annual revenue.
I'd like to see it get up around $1.5 million.
Okay, got it. That's great. So, when you're talking about that, I mean, does that equate to anything related to the people that are in the business? In other words, do you say I've got 6 people in the business, therefore each one of us has to equal 250,000, or am I wildly off with that calculation?
You're wildly off with that calculation. There's
Okay.
4 people in the business.
Okay.
I'm the primary salesman. My wife is the office manager. We have a graphic artist who does some sales and some marketing. We need to beef that up, and we know that's something we need to do.
Okay.
And then we have a pressman who does production.
Okay. So when you're talking about the actual sales piece, are you totally responsible for all sales? I mean, you said that you have a
Cindy
designer
and
who
Allison
does.
do some sales.
Okay.
I'm primarily the one responsible for sales, yes.
Okay. So when you're talking about sales, are you talking about the marketing piece that leads to the sale, or are you talking about actual cold calls and
All of it.
outbound?
The whole sales process piece.
Okay.
The whole making new contacts, the whole building trust with people, and getting to know them to where we understand what they need, not just selling them a product,
Okay.
but having solutions, having ideas that's going to make their life better.
Okay.
We actually take a lot of the American Marketing Association's ideas on how you can make a company
Yeah.
better through their marketing, and we help them.
Got it. Now, I know the AMA has some really good guidelines. I've read some of them, and I've gone to their site a number of times. I've even considered joining them.
I'm right on that fence myself. I have a mentor in the industry, in the ad specialties industry, that's huge in the AMA, and he does a lot with me as far as, okay, you can sell product,
Yeah.
but then you're an order taker.
Right.
You're not really providing solutions. You can tell people you have solutions, but before you have a solution, you gotta know what their pain is.
Yes.
And he goes, you gotta get to know them to do that.
Right.
So you create those situations where you can be there to help somebody after you find out what their need is.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're talking about uncovering somebody's pain, that means that you're having conversations with
Just
people
like
on a
this one.
regular basis.
Yep.
Okay. How often does that occur?
With my top 10 customers monthly.
Okay.
Um,
Is that outbound calling? You basically putting them
Not
on your
all the
list
time.
and
we try to schedule the events and stuff where we know what they have coming up, and we deal with them there then, at their level.
got it.
Like, I know you have something. When I get back in the office today, I have to call a gentleman and talk to him about his golf tournament this fall,
Got it.
because he wants to be better represented than he has been in the past.
Sure.
That's his pain.
Okay.
He wants his company represented at this golf tournament he hosts.
So does that look like promo pieces, or does that look like some? What does that
All of
look
it.
like?
It looks like marketing that golf tournament to
Okay.
get it filled. Last year it was much better than the first year, and I helped with that, and we had it almost full. This year he wants to have it full, and then in having the tournament full, he wants to have his company represented. The people who are in the tournament, he wants logoed, which I wholeheartedly agree with. He wants his volunteers that are with the organization hosting the tournament logoed. I agree with that 100%.
Okay.
And those are some suggestions I made to him. And then he wants something to take for the people at the tournament to know they're giving to a charitable cause, not just playing golf that day, and then what they give helps.
Yeah.
So we're working on a piece to do that. And then he wants something for his company who's sponsoring the tournament to have that people can take with them and continue to think about his company and what they do in the long run. And the complex thing for me on that is he wants it both from a customer end and a potential employee end. So I have to look at both of those. We're talking further today about how we can do that.
Got it. Okay. And customers and employees are different.
Different markets.
Different targets.
Two different
Yeah.
target markets, and it's like, can we do that with one piece?
Yeah.
And what piece is it?
Yeah.
Those are the things I have to think about.
Got it.
With your company, what are your goals?
So, my goals are to amplify what Grant Cardone teaches about marketing and sales. And the reason that I want to amplify that is because rather than me making something up or me extrapolating from my experience and trying to turn that into catchphrases, I'd rather use a system that's already well established based on principles and tenets of marketing and sales. Now, I've been doing marketing and sales for my own companies and for my clients probably over a little over 20 years now. But and maybe this is an excuse, but but I would say 5 out of those 20 years I was doing consulting and coaching work, and then for the last 15 years I've been working for one manufacturer. So for me, this is kind of like a reemergence. It's like me trying to figure out how can I be of service to the people that are my target market. My target market is mostly manufacturers, equipment reps, and small businesses. So the sole reason that I joined BNI was not even originally the idea that I'm going to get business from local businesses. It was really just to reemerge, to speak, to get in front of people, to shake hands. Because I do most of my work on the phone and on a computer every day. I mean, certainly I meet with people, but usually it's in Zoom calls.
Yeah. And it's kind of a blessing. The pandemic forced that blessing upon us, but we've all gotten good at Zoom calls.
Yes.
And if you're dealing with people that aren't local, it's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Now, for guys across town, I hate doing a Zoom meeting with them, but that's just me. If that's their preference, I can do that.
Right.
I wholeheartedly believe you need to contact the customer where they are.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That
All right,
makes perfect
accomplishments.
sense. Yeah.
What are some of your accomplishments?
So, you know, I'm tired of hearing myself talk about this because I actually have a little bit of a deviation from it. But basically, when I started working with this one manufacturer in 2008, they were at $3 million in sales.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of straddling the fence between their legacy business, which was feeding livestock, and the other side of it was industrial conveying. So basically the livestock feeding was conveying to troughs to feed animals, to feed livestock, and the industrial side was completely different in that you're conveying food, you're conveying different ingredients in food to a mixer or to a packaging machine or something like that. So you're not really, it's the same concept in that you're conveying, but
You're
when
moving product,
but you're moving product, but it's not, one is feeding animals, feeding livestock, the other one is moving materials to packages to feed humans. So it's a different business, and it is. It's a very different business.
And cows have a little lower standards for cleanliness than the USDA does.
I've heard that. So on the one hand, I feel like, it's great that I started there. We were at 3 million. By the time I left, we were at 40 million in sales. That's great. I'm happy about that. But then I have to question, why did it take 15 years to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know why it took so long. I mean, I should say, I know now why it took so long. Part of it is that, if you're working with a family business and you have to get agreement and you have to decide how you're going to move ahead, there's a lot of stutter stepping there. You're not necessarily moving forward like, this is really a progressive thing. We're doing this every day. We all have the same vision. We all have the same mission. We all have the same schedule. We all have the same guidelines in terms of what we expect our staff to do in sales and marketing. And no, you're in a business, has different departments. Often those departments are siloed off. They're using different protocols, they're using different software, they're using different standards as to how many calls they need to make to their customers every day. These are all different. So I know why it took so long, and I'm convinced that I can do a better job working with my customers now because I'm independent and I can concentrate on what that business needs in terms of establishing their mission, their vision, their schedule. So, how do you work at scheduling the type of outbound work that we all need to do, whether that's cold calling or emailing or continuing to communicate with people in a way that suits them? How do you do that? So for me, answering those questions and doing that on a regular basis is my goal.
Interesting. All right, I'll flip it back and take the accomplishments. We are a business that's been in business for 50 years. We bought a printing business that was doing well. The owner, the founder, sold it to his son. His son did not plan for the success of the business and thus developed some chemical dependencies that he needed to be treated for. And the accountant came to my wife and I and said, you can either buy the business or we can sell the business and hope that whoever buys it wants to retain her at her salary. Because basically for the last year and a half, 2 years of his son's ownership of the business, he'd checked out and was paying her to manage it.
Got it.
And
how long ago was that?
2002.
Got it. Wow, that's
21.
a good stretch.
Yeah. So for the last 21 years, we've owned a business. I couldn't even afford to work the first 2 years. I would work there, but I wasn't on the payroll. I would go in. I had my other job, my full-time job, full-time plus job, and then whenever I had time, I would go in and help out in our family, in our business.
Right.
And then I got the opportunity to go to work there in 2005, 2006. That's when I joined BNI, 2004, 2005. Joined BNI reluctantly.
Yes.
Chris was a customer of ours, and Chris Enshins, and he basically told me if some other printer joined his BNI group, he wouldn't be back. He said, "You got it. I'll buy you breakfast Thursday morning. Be there." So kicking and screaming, I went to breakfast that Thursday morning, and the concept worked. So I stayed with it.
Nice.
I've been a BNI member now for a long time, and I brought over 22 people into BNI. Those are some of my accomplishments that I'm proud of.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah. And most of them have stayed. That's the really extraordinary part.
Yeah.
Most of them have been long-term members, which is really good.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'm seeing second and third generation BNI members, so that's rewarding to me. Also tells me that's why my back hurts. I'm just old. But yeah, it's a neat feeling.
That's great.
And those are some of my accomplishments. The fact that we've taken a printing business and we saw the decline of the offset printing business with the introduction of the digital press and the things that people can do digitally, and we're like, we need to find another way to supplement our income and keep this going. And that's when we started looking at Ad Specialty Products as a way to offer another branch of our services.
Right.
So what we're selling is customer satisfaction.
Right.
And trust. Those are the things we sell. We don't sell pens and pencils, and those are the tools we use to help our customers market themselves.
How long ago did you put the promos piece in?
Probably 2007, 2008.
Okay. All right.
We didn't get good at it. We're still not great at it.
Okay.
I mean, we're close to $1 million in sales and haven't sent out an email.
Okay. Well.
So I know where we need to go.
Yeah.
We know where we need to go.
That's excellent.
But yeah, there's some things we need to do different and get better about.
What's stopping you from going in that direction?
The fact we're a 4-person staff, and right now the 3 people that could do that are all overloaded themselves. So we're working on ways to automate that. Maybe have it to where it's less time consuming than developing an email.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe using an email or 2 that are developed for us and schedule them to be sent out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
How am I doing? Am I answering the questions right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're doing great.
So yeah, that's kind of the direction we need to go.
Okay.
What direction you need to go?
I need to do more of the same. I need to do more of more email marketing, more Facebook posting, more LinkedIn posting. More writing of goals and ideas that will inspire other people to do the same thing in their own businesses. In other words, get out in front of it, act as an example, model the behavior that I expect people to develop when they're trying to develop their business and inspire and lead the people that they're working with. I need to do that every day. I mean, there's no exception to that.
There isn't, there's no day off.
Right.
Even if I'm not at work, I'm still working.
Right.
Yeah, I was buying a beer at a hockey game one time, and it was a great networking event. And one of my potential customers, a prospect, came up, "Hey, how you doing?" I bought his beer. We started a conversation that continued the next week, and years later, he's still one of my clients.
That's great.
You're never not networking, so you might as well work it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about you're saying email. What about your posting? What about your social media posting?
We have great success with our social media posting.
And that's doing it how often?
Sporadically.
Okay.
We need to get that scheduled, and we need to get it a little higher. We need to do more video, more interaction.
Got it.
So we find our social media posts, if they're interactive, are actually better than even videos. If we
Okay.
can do a picture post leading to a video post leading to an interaction, we just did Mug Madness in March, and I don't know if you followed that or not, but
No.
Plaza Printers, and we had a competition between 16 of our newest mugs
Wow.
to see which one the population liked the best. And they voted round by round, just like it was something like a college basketball tournament.
That's great.
And it wasn't a college basketball tournament. I need to say that, and we need to be really, even though our logo looks somewhat like the NCAA logo, we need to make sure that we're not affiliated with the NCAA in any way. But we did a Mug Madness tournament.
So it was like a bracketed thing.
It was bracketed.
Cool.
It was.
That's great.
And we have fans that have done it for the last 2-3 years, and they follow along and they vote their favorite mug. And we had like 80 people interact with the like and share the post to qualify to win prizes.
Nice. And what kind of result do you get from that? Do you get a result? Do you get people ordering?
So yeah, during Mug Madness, we sold probably 6 orders of mugs, ranging from 24 to 120.
Okay.
And it really, everybody that's following the post, whether they interact with it or not, kind of get excited about the mugs. We sold 2 or 3 orders. People, hey, I saw what you did with the Mug Madness. I saw a mug on there I like. Can we get that for Nurses Week? Sure.
Nice.
So, I mean, whether or not they're interacting directly with that competition on Facebook or on Twitter,
Right.
we still see residual effects from the people that are just viewing it.
Nice.
And then we put a mug in people's hands that has our logo on it and something that may or may not resemble the NCAA tournament logo. And they get a kick out of it. And so they're talking to their insurance agent.
Right.
And they're like, man, that's a great mug. Where did you get that? Plaza Printers, it's right on it. So then they follow that to us.
That's
And
great.
that's one way we get new clients. And that's something we show our customers. I have a financial planner that he wants his logo in every one of his customers' hands all day, every day,
Yeah.
which is a challenge for me, but we're figuring out how to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Drinkware isn't always the answer, but
Yeah. But I mean, you were talking about magnets earlier today. So I mean, I'm thinking magnets, I'm thinking mugs, I'm thinking there's got to be things like you were talking about with the golf logoing, maybe that's t-shirts or polos or hats or
exactly.
yeah.
And is there a way to do it economically? Sure, you can do a name tag.
Right.
We don't have to spend a lot of money, but if you want it to look nice, if you want it to continue, then you need to spend more.
Right.
Because with a name tag, they're going to wear it the day of the event.
Right.
So let's not spend a lot of money on that. If you're going to have a hat and you want them to wear that hat, let's spend a little bit of money on a nice hat that they're going to want to wear when they're out.
Yeah.
So there's some things we need to talk about. I mean, those things
Yeah.
I talk to my customers about.
And probably your design person can help influence that, because obviously if a good logo is placed in the right place, whether or not that's a polo shirt or a hat or a mug.
And it's got to look good too.
Yeah.
So we work with digitizers that make things look good. If we've gone through digitizers that couldn't understand what we needed, so we'll move on.
Right.
Yeah. Also, with that, it's got to fit the rest of the marketing campaign. It can't. Again, we're talking about an item, but that item has to be a tool to serve a function. So just because it's a nice polo that has a logo on it, what do we want that polo to do? If it's a group of employees that are volunteering their time to work at a golf event to raise money, that polo has to say, hey, I'm part of a team.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to keep employees today or get employees today, letting them feel like they're a part of the team is a big part of retention and a big part of attraction. So if we can put a nice Nike polo on them with a great logo that says, hey, I'm a part of this team, if you have questions, ask me, then not only are you identifying them, but you're also serving your need of making them a part of your team.
That's great.
That's
Yeah. Being part of something is a huge part of community and making things work for people, because people want to be part of something. That
Yes.
makes perfect sense.
But you have to make them want to be a part of something too. Nowadays, people don't. I mean, the pandemic kind of took away some of that. I want to be a part of something bigger than me. So we got to get people motivated to do that again.
Right.
And that's where I can help people.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a great. I think that's a great
Interest. What are you interested in? What do you do when you're not working?
Oh, I read a lot.
Do you?
Yeah.
I wish I had time to read more.
Yeah, I read a lot. I read books. I'm mostly nonfiction. I'm
Oh,
mostly a
okay.
nonfiction guy. I mean, if it's not news, you know, interests in I like art, you know,
Oh,
so
sure.
like I kind of follow, you know, what different museums are doing and exhibits and things like that, because I like modern art. But I don't necessarily get a chance to see, you know, real modern art unless I go to a museum or I go buy a book that's specifically about modern art. So I subscribe to a few different, you know, newspapers and kind of see what they have to offer. I like that kind of thing.
Cool.
I also, because I kind of refuse to watch TV.
Yeah.
So I have to go out and find what it is that I'm interested in, because I don't want to be influenced by just random stuff coming at me. So I haven't turned on a TV probably in, you know, 35, 40 years.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I
So-
admire that as well.
I mean, other than that, you know, I like to play poker and I like to play pool. So
Are you good at either?
no, I'm probably a mediocre poker player at best, but my brother is a world champion poker player. So
Serious?
So of course I follow it and I like to play just because I like to play.
I enjoy a game of Texas Hold'em randomly too.
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. So I have a weekly poker game that I participate in locally, and
Really?
yeah,
Interesting.
and I belong to a local club that has pool tables in it, which is right down the block here.
Oh,
Anytime Billiards.
uh,
And Anytime Billiards is really a place that sells pool tables and pool equipment, but they have a showroom that's open around the clock to members. So it's a really cool environment where you can go and get, you know, and find a match and play people and participate in tournaments. So I really like that. And again, I'm a C player to triple A's.
I understand.
But I love to play. So,
It's a captivating sport.
Yes.
And the physics of it are the physics of it are unique. I just love the physics.
right.
So yeah.
So what kind of interest do you have?
Well, so I'm really heavy in my church. We've been trying to keep a small church alive in Stewart, Iowa for the last 5 years, and really been highly successful with it. There was a pastor they hired that was an interim pastor that just about split the church and just could have killed the church, but instead when he left it flourished. And it flourished because there's a small group of us that are dedicated to making it flourish.
Nice.
And Easter we had almost 140 people. We've been averaging about 90 a service. So, yeah.
Is that is the service Sunday you're talking
Sunday
about?
service,
Okay,
mhm.
got it. Okay.
Which is way up from when he was there.
Right.
Of course, he did have, in his defense, he had a pandemic to deal with and some
Right.
other things. But
Sure.
yeah, the way we try to treat people with love. The way he treated people always wasn't with love, and that was what led to our parting ways.
Got it.
Other than church, I am involved in a. Nancy, can we get a couple glasses of water?
Sure.
I hate to trouble you. I'm sorry. Oh, interesting. Blondell Horse Saddle Club. I like horse shows.
Nice.
I show occasionally. I always announce the horse shows because I don't know, I got a face for radio. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like encouraging the kids to become better horsemen.
Yeah.
So I get involved in that. Other than that, I spend a lot of time with my wife. We've taken up golf. We're terrible at it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, like I said, we're terrible at it, but we've taken up golf and we enjoy it, even though it's frustrating. It's kind of like being in a pool.
Yeah.
You see somebody do that, and you're like, "Oh, I should be able to do that." No, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's amazing actually because I have gone out with a couple of my friends who know that I play pool, and they're like, I like to play pool too. Great. So we go to a bar or we go to a pool room, and we play, and it's like, yeah, I think that this is a fun hobby for you, but don't bet any money.
Betting money. Carl, I got stories for you. We could be here an hour with this. But, yeah, I always like sitting in the corner of the bar having a drink and then watching people pick on my friends and going, oh, no.
I went with a friend to a bar recently. He's a guy that I've done a couple of different kinds of gigs with. First of all, I met him because he was doing some gardening work
Okay.
in my neighborhood. And, I hired him because I just thought, you know what, this is a nice guy. I need help in the garden. I'll hire him to do this work for me. It turns out that he is an excellent writer.
Oh.
And has written for industrial trade journals for years, which is basically that's my background.
Sure. Yeah.
So I ended up referring him to one of my clients, and now he's working with him full time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. In the meantime, he basically keeps on saying to me, we should play pool. So we finally went out last week to play pool. We went to Kelly's.
Oh, okay.
And I played him first. I beat him. And then people started getting interested. So people kept on putting their quarters up. I beat everybody for, I think it was either 8 or 9 games in a row. And then finally he got back up and he played and he won. So,
good.
So it worked out.
Yeah, if you can win 10 games in a row, that's good.
Yeah. No, it was great. I loved it. And I don't play bar pool very often. So for me to play on a bar-sized table.
To go from a 10-foot table to a bar box is
Yeah.
It's an adjustment, but it's...
It was fun though.
When I played pool, I was good at it. I've given that up. But one of my favorite memories was sitting in this bar, and this friend of mine came in who was a relatively good pool player and was trying to hustle these people that were trying to hustle him. And it was fun to watch for a while. It really was. Then I got up and said, foosball, they got foosball tables here? And the guy I didn't know looks at me and goes, you need to walk away, we're playing for money. Well, you just hit the ball into the ball, right? And the one that goes in the pocket, the first guy to make the 8 ball wins, right? I said, no, we're playing 9 ball. You won't get it. Don't worry about it. Just take your money and go somewhere else. No, I want to play. He goes, dude, we're playing for 5 on the 5 and 5 on the... We're playing for 5 on the 5 and 5 on the 9. Oh, okay. What's that mean? And he explains to me what that means. 2 hours later and about $500, they finally gave up.
Love it.
I was having fun. So you mean if I hit the 1 ball and it knocks in the 9 ball, then I get $5? Well, yeah, but how are you going to do that? I don't know. We'll try something. 2-rail bank shot. Easy. So yes, when I took pool in college, the instructor was awesome. All the The terminology and things were spot on. His ideas for English were great. Participated in the class for like 3 weeks. We get on the table, we're working the English, we're doing the different things, and he couldn't draw a ball. And this was at Iowa State in the Memorial Union, and the 10-foot table's there. Mm-hmm. And he's got the end of the cue jacked up, and the ball's hopping. And yeah, can I help you with that? It's like, you want to try it? Sure. So I lowered my cue, dropped down a notch from center on the cue ball, snapped my wrist, table length and a half. He's like, yeah, do what he just did. Walked in for my midterm. He goes, okay, everybody, here's your test. He hands them out. So I didn't get a test. He goes, you don't need one. You're playing with me. Let's go.
Nice. I didn't realize there was such a course.
They have intro to all kinds of activities that you can do after college. Matter of fact, those elective credits you're required to take so many of at Iowa State so that you have some interaction skills as well as having the technical skills that you need.
Right.
So they really recommend them for a lot of their CPAs, their engineering students, so that when they graduate, they have the ability to interact with people as well as excel in those technical areas.
Right. So what was your major?
I graduated from Iowa State University Department of Education with a degree in recreation with an emphasis on, wait a minute, I got ahead of myself. College of Education, Department of Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance with an emphasis on therapeutic recreation.
Oh, wow. That sounds useful.
Yeah. It was, if you don't like making money in the state of Iowa. I could go either coast and make a ton. And I was recruited, come to our coast and make a ton, please, we need you. And I'm like, no. I had, at that time, I had a wife and kids here, and soon to be ex-wife and kids here, so I stayed here to be near them. And my first job was at a county care facility, working about 70 to 80 hours a week, making $14,000 a year.
Wow. Wow.
At that point in time, my child support became just about $14,000 a year. So I was actually playing pool and bouncing for money to eat on.
Got it. Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's how I got the bouncing job. I was in playing pool, get practiced up for a tournament and some hustling I had planned for the weekend. And one of the owners had an argument with one of the customers, and I gracefully, using the restraining and escorting techniques I'd learned with the special populations I worked with, helped the gentleman outside and explained to him why he didn't want to be involved in that argument, how he wasn't going to win, because there was no way to win an argument in a bar with one of the bar owners. And I came back in, and the guy's partner said, I'd offer you a job, but you hear that a lot, don't you? How would you like a free t-shirt?
That's great. So I have a feeling, because you've already kind of given me this indication that you're a part of multiple networks.
I should be a part of more.
Okay.
I am actually, so locally, I'm in BNI. I'm in this chapter, but I have 2 other chapters that I oversee that kind of help the growth and development. And that gets randomly reassigned when I need to help the growth and development of another chapter. And then I'm not as active as I should be in the Urbandale Chamber.
Okay.
And then I need to find another area to network in.
Okay.
In order to help accomplish those goals we talked about.
Got it. So maybe another chamber or another BNI group, or what else would you consider?
So being in more than one referral group doesn't work.
Okay.
BNI doesn't even allow it.
Got it. Okay.
Home Builders Association?
What is it?
Home Builders Association?
Home Builders. Got it. Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
Some kind of a production association where I can help. There's people there I can help.
Got it.
I'm not sure the HBA is the answer. I'm kind of looking into it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a soft feel.
Okay.
It's got to be, the reason I'm not as active in the chamber as I wanted or should be is because it's got to be worth my time too.
Right. And what does that look like? Because I was off as far as the dollar amount that each person has to accomplish to get to your goal, 1.5 million. But I mean, when you're talking about the numbers, in other words, when you go to a BNI, do you expect to extract X amount of dollars from it? I mean, do you have a goal in mind how you're going to do that, or is that more organic?
No, I find the more I put into it, the more I can do one-to-ones like this with people like you,
Yeah.
and get to know them better. The more I can let them get to know me better. They start to know me. They start to trust me, and that's when I start getting the referrals. When I get up and I talk to our chapter, I'm really not advertising to the people in our chapter. I'm trying to reach the 200 people they know. And when it starts getting really nice is when you reach the 200 people those people know.
Yes.
So I used to brag about this. We've tracked one referral out 17 generations.
That's a lot.
Yeah. There's a gal that works in John Burns' office that crushes that. Her generation totals almost to 30.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, it's outstanding, and that's the power of BNI.
Right.
So, yeah.
So how do you encourage more of that? I mean, in that particular instance, let's just look at that for the moment. The lady in John Burns' office. I mean, do you supply her with pens, mugs?
We do supply them with some stuff like that.
Okay. Pads?
She does it just through asking, and that's the main thing is people got to ask for a referral.
Yeah.
We in BNI, we do great. Everybody in BNI is great at what they do, but you're expected to be great at what you do right now. So you actually have to ask for the referral. And we find ways to help people ask for the referral. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And that's how we help us get more referrals, and that's how we help people like her get more referrals.
Okay.
That's how you go from generation to generation. Now, I do have people I work with that are more sales driven that will actually motivate their customers, financially. If you give me a referral, I'll give you $100. That's nice. Everybody likes money, but when you spend the money, it's gone. So what I do is I have people that are set up in referral programs where if somebody refers somebody, then they get this prize, whether it's a mug or a grill set or whatever we've developed. That we do that every half year with the customer I'm thinking of right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you get a referral, you come to the meeting. If you give him a referral that half year, he has a meeting and hands out the awards.
Nice. That's great.
That's what he feeds you and gives you whatever. So then whatever you have is in your hand, and it's easy to talk about this company because I have this in my hand.
Right.
Here at my house, we're grilling. His name's on my grill utensils.
Right.
I told you about this guy. Stock market's down this year, but my investments are actually up because he manages that stuff. Would you be interested in talking to him? Boom, there's a referral.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, that's how it works.
That's great.
All right, what are some of your networks you're involved in?
I would say the strongest network I'm in right now has to do with the Grant Cardone group, because I'm part of a group that has been licensed to deliver his materials, and we talk to each other and we coach each other and we work with each other on each other's businesses. And we're not all strictly business coaches. Some of us are real estate people or IT people or graphics people, or
different industries.
Yeah, we
sure.
concentrate on marketing. Some of us concentrate on marketing, other businesses, services. So that's probably my strongest network right now. It's interesting because I'm revisiting some of the things that I did in the manufacturing world right now. revisiting some of the trade publications, talking to some of those people, talking to some of the equipment reps that represented the manufacturer that I worked with, but also represent other manufacturers. So digging into that some more for me is really like trying to broaden my reach and to network better, to find out what people need so that I can figure out how best to serve them. It's been really interesting since I started doing this work, which is only a few months ago now. I mean, I coached and consulted, like I said, over 20 years ago. And then when I worked with this machine manufacturer, they were my dedicated client for, for 50
Sure.
years. But now as I'm revisiting this, the 2 best referrals I've gotten have been from my poker game.
Really?
Yes.
You're always networking. Always.
And yeah, I mean, it's been great because, they both need certain assistance with different aspects of marketing, and they're in my wheelhouse. The thing that I've noticed recently is that I spent all this time developing these different pieces to do marketing for this manufacturer, but when I went to look for more information about how best to do that for others, I came up with this guideline, which is based on, it's funny because there's a book written by this guy that I've been to his webinars, his all-day events a couple of times over the years, and I go to his events and they're extraordinary because they're all about content development, and they're all about putting content on the web and digital marketing, but they follow all the tenets of lead generation. And this guy wrote a book. It's called Content Chemistry, and he has a graph that basically shows 40 plus things that you do in generating leads. And it wasn't until after I picked up his book, after one of his webinars, or his all-day seminars, or whatever you want to call them, that I realized I've done all these things. I've done every single item on this list for this company. This is what I need to incorporate in the work that I do for people now.
Sure.
Anyway.
And you have the skills to do that. So I think, yeah, I'm going to have to, we're running out of time for me.
Okay.
I apologize for that.
No problem at all.
There are some
great.
things wise I need to talk to you about. Has anybody talked to you about the passport that was in your welcome kit?
No,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do not.
There's a little book in there. It's called a passport.
I noticed that. I can't say I picked it up and read it.
So what should happen with that is you should do a one-to-one with the vice president, the president, and the treasurer, and there's areas in there for them to sign that passport.
Okay.
And then you should do one with the mentor coordinator, and then finally your director consultant, which is me. So you've killed the last one.
Okay.
But they should be scheduling one-to-ones with you. If they're not, that's kind of their role. And you're like, why does it start with the vice president and not the president? Well, usually the vice president knows the incoming member better than the president does because of the membership process.
Okay.
That's why it typically starts with the vice president.
Okay.
But for some reason...
And that's Greg, right?
Vice president is Greg. Yep. President is Chris.
Right, Chris, yep.
Treasurer is Todd.
Todd, yep. Got that.
Mentor coordinator is Susan.
I met with her.
Okay. And then...
You're the
director consultant.
director consultant. Okay.
Right.
Very
so
good.
now, in the old days, back when we had paper products, there was a list of things that I would talk to a new member about.
Okay.
And then I would just have them check off this explanation. So you've attended MSP.
I have.
Okay. When people first join, that's something I need to get them to commit to doing.
Sure.
We have members that joined before you that have not done that yet.
Got it.
I'm not going to mention Tyler's name, but it talks about these sheets and how you're going to use those to meet with people,
Okay.
and how that helps you figure out who you are, so you can fill out a sheet we used to hand out what constitutes a good referral, so you can be ready to talk when it's your turn to give your 12 minutes.
Okay.
Because you'll get the whole speaking time the first time you get to talk.
Right.
So that'll be exciting.
Yes.
Have you already done that?
I have.
Shoot, I missed it. I wish I could always be here, but everything else takes me away too. Okay, you understand all the policies and procedures of B&I, the absences, all of that?
I have a vague recollection of what was told to me, yeah. I can't say that I study them, but yes.
Okay. The main thing I want people to know, and the main thing, way we lose people in the first year, which I don't want to lose you in the first year, you are allowed 3 absences in a 6-month period and 3 subs in a 6-month period. The pandemic was good to us because that 3 sub rule's been kind of extended for medical purposes.
Sure.
Now, if you have a pancreas attack and can't be here for a month, we understand that.
Right.
We've had some people that have extended medical leaves recently, and that's just going to happen.
Sure.
Same with maternity and paternity leaves. We do respect that,
Yeah.
not because we have to. Okay. Inviting visitors, you understand how to do that.
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Business card holder, you get that.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
And you understand how to use that.
Yeah, I actually have it with me.
Awesome. You understand how to put together a good sales manager minute. The hard part for you is going to be to how specifically what you sell.
Yeah, that's something that I will definitely be talking to you more about. I sent you my business card,
Right.
and I'm gonna hang on to that until Chandler is gone. But I want to make sure that I use all my skills, not just part of my skills.
Okay.
In other words, I am a business coach and I work at that every day, but I'm also somebody who puts systems into place. I use software to put systems into place. I do marketing for people. I do social media programs for people. My clients ask me and expect for me to set up their CRMs, to set up missed call text back systems for them, to set up email campaigns for them. I do all these things, and I have done these for years.
That's okay.
That's how I got from being a coach to being a consultant.
Yes. And there's where I'm going, is from ad specialty sales to ad specialty consulting.
There you go.
That's my, yes, I understand what you're saying. I get the difference. What you do in the group and what your label is kind of up to the membership committee.
Yeah.
So I'd suggest you work with the vice president, Greg, and tell him what you just told me.
I will.
Because, yeah. that
Because there's always somebody who's going to come in and say, I can do your marketing. There's always somebody who's going to do that.
You just, in B&I, you're allowed one position. That's why I talk about ad specialties. I very rarely talk about printing. If a printer wanted to join the chapter, I'd quit talking about printing. What Matt from Iowa Sign, who's turned out to be an awesome referral partner for me, we refer a lot of business to him because we don't do monuments or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And he refers a lot of business to us because he doesn't do a lot of the ad specialty things we do. But we both do wide format printing. That's kind of why he was looking at me this morning when he was talking about doing canvases and things. We do that too. I just don't talk about it in the chapter.
Got it. Yeah,
if somebody in our chapter came to me, I would say go to Matt.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and that's one of the things that I want to basically explore with Greg and Chris, because I really want them to know that for me it was a really important change, because I was coaching over 20 years ago, and one of the things that I realized is that business owners really don't know what to do when it comes to their marketing. They don't know what to do. They need assistance. They need hand-holding. They need somebody to develop their content for them. They need somebody to put that into place. And like I said, that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. So I do not want to constrain myself by just saying that I'm coaching. I lead people out of darkness into activity.
Okay. I'm gonna let you work with them on that because in BNI you're allowed one position. So you're either, but I'm gonna let you work with them on that. Okay. You got your bio sheet filled out on the web and everything?
I do.
I was gonna look and I just ran out of time.
Yep.
Okay, good. And you understand the importance of wearing your name tag, even though I forgot mine in the car today? Every time I bring somebody new into BNI, Dave makes me a new name tag. I have 25 of them. And there's probably 2 in the car. I just didn't, it didn't make it to my shirt today. All right, that's what I normally cover with a new member.
Okay.
And then talk about what makes a good referral for them. I think I did. Maybe it didn't make it with me. We had some recommendations on your card.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened to your card. I had it with me, but where it went, I don't know. In some places, it's kind of pixelated, which is okay for a business card. It's because the print's so small.
Okay.
If we were going to do a flyer with the graphics you sent us, we would have to make them a vector file. Cause
I was going to ask if I need to make that into a vector file, and I can
Yes.
get that done, no problem.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, unless you guys want to do it. I mean, either way.
Well, we do it. We have to charge it,
Right.
and if you do it,
Yeah.
you do it however you do it.
Okay.
We don't charge very much for that, but
Okay.
we unfortunately we do have to charge for what we do. That's kind of how we stay in business. Some people don't understand that.
So vector. Anything
Yep.
else?
We can go with the card the way it is. Some of your type was like some of the type on this card. See how that's a little hard to read?
Mm-hmm.
Where you take another card we've done. See how it's really easy to read?
Yeah. Yeah.
See the difference?
Yes, I do.
I would suggest making a lot of your type a lot bigger.
Okay.
You have a lot of white space in your card, so you have room to make it bigger.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Can I use that as an example?
Sure.
I will make it a point to do that.
So and those are just some things we saw in your card that we could change or you can change. That's another thing I would not do is coat both sides of a card.
No, I like matte
Yes,
because I want people to be able to write on it.
exactly.
Yeah. I prefer.
I don't
I
mind
always
one-
prefer using matte.
I don't mind one side being coated, but
Yeah.
I never coat both sides.
Yeah. I
try to stay away from that.
I don't like card coding. It's just not my thing.
And then the other thing you could do, I don't have my card with me. Well, do I have a card with me? Something you could think about doing, and I don't have a card with me. See how hard that is to write on? That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Is list some of the things you do on the back of the card.
Yes.
That was something I thought with you specifically, even if you just took it from a question point of view, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this?
Okay.
Those are things I can help with. This is what I do. I do. And list some of that stuff out.
Okay.
Could make the problem you're going to have selling your business, your services, is getting people to understand what they are.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you could put that on the back of a business card, what you told me today,
Yeah.
I think that would help you out tremendously.
Okay.
Those are suggestions I had.
I'm all for it.
I'm not being critical of your design work at all. Don't. I've had people get mad at me when I've done that in the past, but those are just suggestions I have that could help you in the long run.
I appreciate it. Actually, I like to say that I'm not only a coach, but I'm coachable.
I like that. More of us need to be like that. My big problem is time. I need to be better at time management because I know what I need to do. I know how to do it. I just need the time to do it. as I was doing some what I'd consider accounting, I had a customer that requested a quote on 7 items. I quoted the 7 items she requested. Then I suggested 5 alternative items that would, in my opinion, help her better meet her market
Yeah,
and save her some money.
got it.
And then I suggested 2 items that the nonprofit could give to donors to show that not only are we grateful you care about us, but we care about you too. Here's a couple items that'll help them see that.
Yeah,
And she's like, great, what's the total for all of it? So there I was doing accounting. That's not my thing.
right.
You know, and it's 5 o'clock, and I got a 6 o'clock tea time in Greenfield, Iowa, and I'm doing accounting. Chances are I'm going to mess that up. Lo and behold, I did.
Yeah,
Lo and behold, I got that wrong. But so my wife sent out the correction email this morning. But that's
yeah,
not what I'm good at, and that's not what I should be spending my time doing.
I
And I
get it.
keep trying to tell my wife, who's my boss,
right.
this is something I should be doing. I should be writing an email and sending to everybody, making sure that they're involved in their community. They're going to be in their community parade this summer, and they want something nice to hand out because candy just doesn't work out well.
I'm with you. I love that idea. I love the fact that you're doing those types of things.
Well, no, I see it. It's
they
not
capture
doing
my
it because I
attention.
don't have the time
Yeah.
to actually put that email together.
Um,
We're going to get through. We're going to have another one of these, and we're going
Okay.
to get through those other sheets.
okay, great.
There's actually another sheet I want to show you to the gains. It's called the gains extension. It talks about your bragging points.
Okay.
And we didn't even get time to talk about what I wanted to talk about today.
Which is?
Pool.
Oh, well, we can talk about pool anytime, and I'm happy to engage. I'm sure you'll beat
I would,
me.
yeah.
I'm sure you'll beat me, but
No,
that's
so
okay.
I haven't-
I don't mind. I don't mind being beaten. I prefer winning, but I take
So-
my wins and my losses.
You know, it wasn't until I was coaching soccer that I realized, even in pool, I learn more when I lose than when I win.
Yes.
Winning's great, but I learn more when I lose.
Yeah. That's a fact.
So, I don't mind losing occasionally either.
It's a whole piece of it.
But I really enjoyed some of the friends I've made through pool.
Yeah.
And some of the enemies.
Sure.
There's people that don't like being beat. Sorry about that. And there's, yeah. Have you heard of the American Pool Players Association? Are you
I
in?
have actually. I played in. It wasn't the APA. It was a different group. It was a bar league, a bar table league at Big Dogs Billiards. I did that for a couple of years, and our team won. So I ended up going to the national thing in Las Vegas.
Awesome. Yeah.
We-
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, we didn't win, but we
That's a great experience. Yeah. I'm not
I
sure
think- I
anybody-
think
I think Vegas wins on that one.
Exactly.
I do. I really think Vegas wins on that one.
I'm trying to remember what it was called, whether it was UPA or something. It's been a number of years. I've forgotten the name of the
So
group.
was that in this area?
Yeah, it was at Big Dogs Billiards.
So you play a big.
I played at Big Dogs for a couple of years, but then I stopped playing there on a regular basis when I joined that other place,
Nimmer's,
the Anytime Billiards.
Trying to think of Nimmer's first name.
Jonas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Jonas is Schlatic.
Yeah, that's Jonas Schlatic, and his dad goes there too, by the way.
I
And
coached
also-
Jonas's kids in soccer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then there's Wes.
West Nemmers, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Sean.
I don't know Sean.
Okay. He's a truck driver, I know that. But he also, delivers and sets up the pool tables with Wes. That's like their business. That's the back end side of the business that supports the front end.
What's funny is you should hear Wes's sister talk. Are we still being recorded?
Yeah, we can turn it off.
You should hear Wes's